Copyright Rules by Michelle Villarreal, The Right Way. What is copyright? Copyright is a form of protection grounded in the U.S. Constitution and granted by law for original works of authorship fixed in a tangible medium of expression. What does copyright protect? Copyright, a form of intellectual property law, protects original works of authorship, including literary, dramatic, musical, and artistic works, such as poetry, novels, movies, songs, computer software, and architecture. Copyright does not protect facts, ideas, systems, or methods of operation, although it may protect the way these things are expressed. Why? Why do we need copyright laws? To protect the financial interests of the creators, producers, and distributors of original works of information and art. Nations adopt copyright laws. Copyright refers to the legal rights to an original work. These laws set the conditions under which anyone may copy, in whole or part, original works transmittable in any medium. Without copyright laws, writers, artists, and media producers would not receive the compensation they deserve for their creations. All material on the internet is copyrighted unless stated otherwise. What? My work is protected? Yes, it is. Your work is under copyright protection the moment it is created and fixed in a tangible form that is perceptible either directly or with the aid of a machine or device. Copyright laws dealing with PowerPoints. You need to begin your presentation with a disclaimer that alerts your viewers that you have used copyrighted materials in your presentation. Plus, you must have a bibliography at the end of your presentation. Here is a sample disclaimer. Some material in this presentation is used under the fair use exemption of U.S. copyright law. Further use is prohibited. What about quotations? Under the fair use doctrine of the U.S. copyright statute, it is permissible to use limited portions of a work, including quotes, for purposes such as commentary, criticism, news reporting, and scholarly reports. What is a citation? You've heard this word. A citation is the way you tell your readers that certain material in your work came from another source. It also gives your readers the information necessary to find the location details of that source on the reference or works cited page. Music. The reality is that there is no legal protection in copyright law for these types of use. If you use a piece of a composition or sound recording that is copyrighted, you will need a license. Sometimes you'll hear about the 15-second or 8-bar rule. A common misconception among musicians is that we can legally use a piece of copyrighted material as long as we only use a small portion of it. The idea is that if you use just 8 bars of a composition or sample less than 15 seconds of a recording, you'll be protected. It's somewhat of an urban legend, where one side argues that the copied portion is too small or common to be considered a distinct copyrightable work. The reality is that there is no legal protection in copyright law for these types of use. If you use a piece of a composition or sound recording that is copyrighted, you will need a license. Take a look at this poster. Let's answer the questions. Using a copyrighted song in your video. Yes, if the video is for educational purposes and you're not sharing the video publicly. It is for personal use. No, if you're putting the video on a public blog, website, or social media, YouTube, etc. No if you're sharing the video at a public event. What about pictures and images? The Copyright Act protects a wide variety of photographic works. This category includes photographs that are created with a camera and captured in a digital file or other visual medium such as film. Examples can include color photos, black and white photos, and similar types of images. Image copyright exists as soon as an image is created. All types of visual art are subject to copyright. Photographs, digital art, infographics, maps, charts, paintings, and so on. The specifics of image copyright laws can vary a bit among countries. Fortunately, 181 countries, including Canada and the United States, are members of the Berne Convention Treaty, which sets basic copyright standards. According to the treaty and Canadian and U.S. copyright laws, a copyright owner has exclusive rights to translate the work, if it includes text, reproduce the work, make derivative works based on the work, such as using an image as a background in a video or otherwise modifying the image, distribute the work to the public, or display the work publicly. In short, if you created an original image, you own it. That ownership gives you exclusive rights to display and reproduce what you create. If you didn't create it, you need permission to use it. On this slide, you will see a free images for students and teachers overview. Videos. In the U.S., Section 107 of the Copyright Act identifies research, criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, and scholarship as examples of fair use of content. So if your video falls under these categories, you might be able to reuse others' content in it. However, legally speaking, it is still a matter of walking on eggshells since there are no concrete definitions within this clause. Let's talk about fair use. Under the fair use doctrine of the U.S. copyright statute, it is permissible to use limited portions of a work, including quotes, for purposes such as commentary, criticism, news reporting, and scholarly reports. There are 4 basic criteria for fair use. 1. Purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is for nonprofit, educational purposes rather than that of a commercial nature. Using a copyrighted work for an educational objective is more likely to be considered fair use than using it for commercial gain or entertainment. 2. Nature of the copyrighted work. If the work is for a general readership, such as a magazine or a periodical, not specifically designed for education, it would tend to support fair use of the classroom. Works of an entertainment nature, such as cartoons, movies, or music, are less likely to be considered fair use. 3. Amount and sustainability of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. Using a smaller amount of the total work is more likely to be considered fair use than using a larger amount. 4. Effect of the use on the potential market or value of the copyrighted work. Use that negatively affects potential sales of the original work weighs against fair use. Seeking permission to use copyrighted materials. Aside from staying within the guidelines, what can you do to ensure you have access? Seek permission. Use public domain. Obtain royalty-free collections of media. Even though you or your school have the capability to convert analog materials to a digital format, it is usually a violation of copyright laws and guidelines. Copyright rules to remember. Just because you found it online doesn't mean it's free. There are a lot of resources you can use freely. You have a right as a creator to have your work protected. When in doubt using content, ask the creator for permission, and instead of looking for loopholes, consider whether you're being the most responsible and ethical digital citizen you can be.